Kriga Bundalo. This is going to be an odd video in format for you guys. So if you've watched my videos before and you've seen what we've done, be ready for a bit of a change on this one. And the change is going to be as follows. Typically what you guys get is the old man Tennessee Fats rambling smattered throughout the video. I get that. It's what we do here. But before we get into this video, I really do have to tell you a story that's going to be a long, meandering one that's going to lead up to where I got a really big surprise. After that's done and I explain where we're at, then I'm going to get into the meat of this video, the one that you all clicked on, the reason why you saw the thumbnail that said Titan Comics #2 review for Conan the Barbarian. We're going to get into that. But first, I got to tell you a story. Okay, it's story time. So for those of you who have watched my channel before, you know that when I get into story time and I get into old man rambling mode that, well, we ramble. But this is an important one because I gotta throw out disclaimers here up front before I get into the actual review part of the video, okay? So bear with me. And if you don't want the old man rambling part, maybe you just want to skip so closer to the review part, but maybe you want to stick around for the last little bit because I'll try to summarize at the end there for those of you who have skipped the majority of the story. But bear in mind, these stories are part of my charm, okay? So maybe you want to stick around for... Anyways, so as you guys know who are Conanophiles, and you probably are if you're watching this channel, I'm a little excited about the Titan Comics Heroic Signatures new series of Conan the Barbarian. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is because, well, I like Robert E. Howard stuff, and I like Conan the Barbarian. But that's the bias that I bring to the table. That's my luggage that I come wandering up to the counter with when I go into the comic shop. But the other reason I'm excited is because, well, I read that issue 0, not issue 2. And I read that issue 1, and I was particularly impressed. And I thought, these are good enough for me to actually go out and do review videos and say, yeah, I'm actually really enjoying these. And quite frankly put, if you're a Conanophile and you haven't bought them yet, you probably want to go buy them. And I was clear about that message. So I did that. I put out those videos and I did that. But the other thing that I did was because I'm excited about these, I set up not one, but 2 pull lists to make sure that I would actually be getting the issues on this. Because being outside of Toronto and Canada, I recognize that, well, there's sometimes issues at the local comic shops with supply, okay? And it's not an issue of the local comic shops. They're doing everything they can. Their suppliers, however, seem to suck. And I can't figure out why. Because I'll go down to my place in Florida, and I'll go into a local comic shop, and I can get every single cover of every single book I ever wanted. And I get that there's a difference in economies of scale there than there is here. But when I'm picking them up down there, I'm not picking up books that are already dinged and dented and what have you. I'm getting books that are relatively pristine. In addition, when I say I want every cover, I get every cover. So I did a duplication. I set up a pull list at my local comic shop, and I also set up a pull list with a mail service that's based out of the States. And we're not going to talk through that one. If you guys want to do a review on that and I can walk you through that whole process, we'll do that in another video. For those of you who are curious about that and seeing whether it's worthwhile doing, this is, again, I just started this. It's my first time doing it. So if we are going to do that, caveat, and I'm relatively new to it. So bear in mind that my opinion is going to be fairly nuanced. Anyways, so I set up a duplication there. So I go wandering into my comic shop, the local one to me here. And I did that not this last Wednesday, but the Wednesday before, which was the release date for Conan #2. And I go wandering in. This is, by the way, what it looks like when I go wandering in the comic. I do that. That's pretty much how I meander through life all the time because I'm just like the crazy old man on Yogi Bear cartoons. That's how I roll. Anyways, I go wandering in and I go to get my pull list, and there's a couple books there for the boy. And that's pretty cool. But they say, well, you know, the issue here, Tennessee Fats, is the Conan books didn't come in this week. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah. We didn't get any Conan titles at all. And I was like, well, that's a bummer. But bear in mind, it's a printed material. It'll be here next week. So, you know, whatever. I'll survive. It'll be here next week and I'll get it then. Granted, I'll be a week later to the party than everybody else that's reading this. But you know what? I don't need to be the first guy at the table. I'm okay. I'm good with who I am and where I am in the market. So I'm like, all right, I'll go wandering off. So I do my thing and I'm kind of ignoring it and thinking somewhat forward to the next Wednesday. Ooh, Blue Jays. Anyways, thinking forward to the next weekend, and I'm thinking this is going to be a good time. And on Saturday I get up, I'm painting my Baron because, you know, fall's coming, so it's time to repaint. Doing my thing. I come inside and I get 2 comments on my YouTube channel. For those of you who post comments on my YouTube channel, thank you very much. They're very rewarding and I do enjoy my interaction with you. Now, 2 of you who did these, you know who you are. Because I'll tell you, I came in and I was reading it on my phone. And this is what it's like when I'm reading things on my phone. Because I don't need reading glasses, but this is what it's like. I hold my phone about this far away and I look down at it. I don't know why I do that. It's probably because I'm a crazy old man. But I do that. And I look down at my phone and I'm like, why? What are they talking about? Who? What? Congratulations. What am I getting congratulated on? I'm who? So I'm like, okay, let's go to the Lappity Toppity 5000. So I break out the Lappity Top 5000, and I pull it all up, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, I'm referenced in Conan number 2. And of course, my immediate reaction goes to, holy crap, I hope I didn't do something wrong. And I'm like, did I offend somebody? Did I do something terribly wrong? Am I getting ripped apart in print media now? Is this how the world is going? I was like, no, hold on. Just pump the brakes now, pump the brakes. Let's just calm down. We'll get the issue when it comes out on Wednesday, and everything will be fine. And I sort of say, okay, I'll be okay. I thank the 2 commenters, and I was like, I didn't know, thanks for letting me know. And I'm thinking, I'll move on and I'll be fine. Well, little OCD Tennessee fats in the back of my brain can't calm down about this. He's like, no, we got to find out what's going on here. Do we go to another local comic shop and just grab an issue number 2 to find out what's going on? Do we do this? And of course, the logical part at the front of my brain is like, listen, OCD Tennessee fats, shut the hell up. Okay, we'll get to it. It's not the end of the world. We'll get to it. Just relax. So I'm thinking, all right, we'll get to it. But then the other side of me says, wait, we got a duplication here. Have we got a shipment coming in of these books anytime soon? And I go and I pull up my US subscription service, and it shipped great the day after the comic came out the prior week. Fantastic. When's it going to be here? Oh, wait. They created a shipping label on that day. Hasn't even been received by UPS yet. Strike one. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm not getting it. So, following week comes running around. I go wandering into the comic shop. Of course, bear in mind, at this point in time, I'm loaded for bear because I'm pretty excited about this. I'm like, guys, tell me you got some Conan books. Like, yes, Tennessee Facts, we got some Conan books, and this is what it is. And I'm like, all right, fantastic. And I get all the fancy covers, and I'm all excited about this. And I come tearing home, and I'm sitting here at lunch, and I'm reading through it, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, all right, where am I in this? Where am I in this? And then I look at the back cover. This is me. This is me. I am being referenced in print in a Conan comic as somebody who's providing feedback and positive. Me. What? Who? All those words went through a variety of other explicatives as well, but we're going to edit here because we're on YouTube. And this is a kid-friendly channel, okay? And I'm like, what in the... So let me put this out here right now and right here. First of all, Tennessee Fats have been contacted by absolutely nobody at Titan Comics and Heroic Signatures. I buy my comics. I have no bias. I am not sitting here saying to you, you need to buy these because they are sponsoring me by any means. They are not. I am giving legitimate third-party reviews when I'm going through my reviews of issue number 0 and issue number 1. My issue number 2 review that we're going to get into, also completely unbiased. This is me, a guy who bought the book. All right, I have no vested interest in supporting this company other than the fact that they're putting out a product that I really, really like, okay? And that's just me giving you my honest opinion. So this isn't a bot opinion. This isn't me coming out here saying I have to say something positive because I'm on it. Not at all. But I will say this to you guys over at Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics who actually took the time to watch my videos and actually quote me in it. I want to say thank you because what this shows is 2 things. 1, I guess I'm becoming legit now. Am I too legit to quit? I don't know, but I'll get my hamster camera pants on later and I'll go dance around about that later. But that's pretty cool. But number 2, it shows that you're listening. And I gotta tell you, as a comic buyer that's been buying comics for a long, long time, and who has been reading them, and who has been cursing and swearing about things, and who has been providing feedback for a long time in written format or in video format or whatever, to actually have somebody listen is really rewarding. And it shows me that you're clearly taking this fan base seriously. So Titan Comics, Jim Zub, rest of the team, thank you very much for that. I completely appreciate it. And honestly, you've given me a little bit of faith in the comic market again, that you guys are in fact listening. Now, we got all that disclaimer stuff out of the way. Now let's get into the review of the books. Okay, story parts out of the way. And once again, I'm going to say this to the team over at Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics. Give me the feels. Thanks for the shout out. I do appreciate that. Now, let's talk about issue number 2 itself, okay? Because this is the important part. This is the meat and potatoes of this actual video. So, what do we think of this one? Well, as we know, in issue number 0 and issue number 1, I was particularly impressed. So I'm going to talk about 2 aspects of this book right now, okay? And we're going to break it down this way. We're going to start with the art side, and we're going to get this out of the way, okay? I already said in issue 0 and issue 1 that the art was knocking this thing out of the park. Issue number 2 is continuing it. In fact, what we're seeing is we're actually seeing a step up in the level of art because now we're starting to see the same art style applying to different aspects of Conan's world. Earlier, we saw basically a battle. You saw one particular scene. Issue number 0, you saw the sack of Venarium, and you saw that particular scene, and you saw mountain scenery. Now you're starting to see other aspects of the world around Conan, because this particular story has to do with Conan traveling through that world. So you're starting to see different vignettes and the art's being applied to these different areas. Once again, we're seeing a very Conan-like style that's holding you as a reader and making you turn the page. And to me, that says this is really well done. If the goal is to make you read Conan, the art's clearly making you do it. Okay, one. Art style, out of the way. Writing style, let's talk about that now. Now, I talked about the writing in issue 0, and I said how ingeniously it was done because really you had very little written text. The majority of the story is being communicated with the art. And honestly, what that says is it's not a little bit of art. It's actually harder for the writer to do that and for the story to be communicated. So on that one, I was like, that art and that writing, well done. Issue 1, I didn't want to throw any spoilers out there, so I didn't really talk about the writing, but what we saw was a ramp up in the amount of writing. So what you're seeing in issue number 2 is you're seeing the writing, the actual written text to you as the reader, increasing again. You've gone from issue 0, very little, issue 1, some, and issue 2, a lot more. Why are we seeing more in this issue though? I'll tell you why. We're seeing more in this issue because we're starting to get the filler information. This particular story is very much one of a backfill story. We're getting the actual events occurring, but we're getting the context of why these events are occurring as the story is unfolding. So we open with an aftermath of a battle. They wander into an aftermath of a subsequent battle. They get into a battle. And at the end, you have what is really the ramp up of the level of severity of the story at the end of it. And that's where you get into very much of a Dungeons and Dragons-esque type hint to the story. You get into an H.P. Lovecraft type hint to the story. But at the same time, throughout all of this, you're seeing the strong knowledge base about the actual character that Conan is coming in throughout. Conan chooses to advise his partner early on, no. Fighting and ending up dead isn't doing anybody any good. You're going to wait right here. You continue to get Conan applying logic as he's running along. Listen, yeah, you have a dirty wound on your dressing right now, but it makes no sense to leave it dirty. We might as well clean that. Like, the advice is coming out from the senior individual within the party, and it clearly shows me this writer knows Conan. But the beautiful part about it is this writer knows Conan, but this writer also knows sword and sorcery. He knows the genre. He knows what aspects to put in. You don't have H.P. Lovecraft smacking you in the face throughout this story. What you have is hints of H.P. Lovecraft and elder godlike material throughout the story, just as little snippets, tastes, threads, whatever you want to call them, are in there saying, oh, I think we're going elder god type monstrosity here. And I got to tell you, as a H.P. Lovecraft fan, I am particularly looking forward to the next one, this one, to see if we're going to go on the road where I think we're going with this one. So, art-wise, fantastic. Writing-wise, this one really showcases some of the strengths within the artist here and in the writer as the individual in carrying this story forward to you. So if you were to ask me and you say, Tennessee Fast, listen, I haven't found issue number 0 and I haven't found issue number 1. Can I actually pick this thing up at issue number 2? With the amount of writing in this and the way the story was done, you can make this your touch point to start the story while you backfill your issue 0 and 1 later. You'll be able to understand where you're at. So if you're thinking about jumping on now, for God's sakes, do it. Okay, let's wrap this bad boy up. I gotta tell you, the story part at the beginning of this one was kind of fun for me, and I gotta tell you, this last couple weeks actually getting the information to come forward to where we're at and what actually happened, I found it to just be hilariously funny. Honestly, the fact that this happened and I had no idea, the fact that I didn't even have an idea of what it was until a full week and a half later, I find hilarious. It just speaks to the level of bumbling old man that I am, which quite frankly, I just think is that charming luggage that I always bring to the table. I wouldn't call it baggage. We'll go with luggage. But once again, Jim, the rest of the team over there, give me the feels. I appreciate that. And I think this does, in fact, make me too legit to quit. So I'm going to go buy myself some MC Hammer pants right now. Didn't want to go into too much detail on the actual story on this one because, again, I never want to put out a full video where I walk through page by page on something that's relatively new because I know people are going out and buying these and reading them. But I did want to give you guys a vignette here of what's really the strength that I saw in this issue. I'm really looking forward to issue number 3. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you in the next one.